This is the deadliest accident in human history. It's also one of the weirdest, and to this day, no one really knows exactly what caused it. One was carrying oil, that is, how long it took for the two locomotives to travel the 26 miles between the two towns, which may have contributed to the accident. But the real question is, why didn't anyone try to stop the train? Why didn't someone sound the alarm? And then they had all leaned out of their carriages to wave at the approaching train. Maybe they thought the other train would stop, but we can be sure that if the people on board the passenger train had known they were about to die, they wouldn't have spent their last moments waving at the people on the other train. Maybe they didn't realize there was even a train there at all. People were clearly looking out the windows. There was a pregnant woman on board who survived the initial crash but died soon after from a head injury, and it would have been impossible for her to have misjudged the situation and not realized they were headed straight for a collision. But no one on either train sounded the alarm or tried to stop. Why? We don't know. There was no malfunction with the train's braking system, according to the investigation, nor any evidence that the engineer of the passenger train had intentionally steered it off course. The only damage to the track was a broken rail that had been bent but not at the point of impact, and it wasn't broken completely through, which would have made it easier to spot. The other, a group of British military personnel and their families who were being relocated from the port city of La Guaira to the remote jungle town of Cumaná. There were 274 people on board the passenger train, the SS Kourou, and all of them died along with 28 soldiers on the oil train. Only one person survived the crash. He was an African-American sailor on the oil train who somehow managed to jump off just before the collision. On March 1904, two trains collided head-on in the Venezuelan jungle. The two trains had been on the same track and heading towards each other for about an hour before the crash. The passenger train's bell and whistle were broken. There were many such passengers. British Army wives and children, along with some Army personnel, were on their way to the Cumanana military base because their families had been deemed a threat to national security. That is, because they were the wives and children of officers who had recently led a failed coup against the Venezuelan dictator. One survivor recalled seeing a group of women and children waving from the other train. They were smiling and enjoying the scenery. We may never know what went wrong that day. That's all for today. See you next time.